Throws it. I don't even want to see John anymore. Throw me into the game. John X Fire, what he has done today is he's decided to message every single player individually on either team and ask them to spam his voice line. And now they will do so for the whole best of 3. You are welcome, ladies and gentlemen.
I started with Abed and Carlo, and now it's spread like a virus. It's all over the place, Mike. You can't stop it. There's no way to stop this once it's out. There's the good lucks. No all chat. No words being given. No memes.
No.
Oh, there you go, traitor.
There it is.
Traitor. Brile. The Cebuano in the Tagalog stack. He's betrayed the Pisayawas, Mike. He's changed sides. There you go. That's the spice.
It happens. What can you do, Jonathan?
30 seconds to battle.
See if they get into a level 1 team fight here. Polaris, rather Geek fan, sitting on the bottom side of the map, but they are going to rotate towards the top side. Wish the players would change their team tags, John, but apparently they don't like to do that.
You still have Boom Natsumi. Yeah. Polaris Mech.
That was a time, wasn't it?
That was a time. That was a time. I remember minefields, minefield signs being a time there as well.
Yeah, I remember Gary having hair. Jing, he's going to move up to the north. He'll take the banner in, and in fact, it is going to be a 3-for-1. So it seems like Geek Fan will be able to get away with one more banner to get the laning stage started. And why don't we start with that top lane, Jonathan? You've got Palos there on the Monkey King along with CML against Jing and, of course, Cox on the Dazzle and the Clockwork. Oh, this is going to be great. Cox and Clock in the same lane, John. This is going to be fantastic for me. How does this lane go, John? I imagine it's going to be pretty rough for Execration in this top lane.
It's not going to be the easiest time. You've got a range advantage on Dazzle. You can always play poke with Poison Touch. You can sustain through with a Shadow Weave, and it's going to be Shadow Wave, and it's going to be really fun to aggress back as well. It's going to be down to CML, trying to get some early harass off, and, well, not a good sign when Palos is already being run down.
That's without a Poison Touch as well. Just Jing running him down with the Battery Assault. Of course, you're seeing now Cox getting harassed just a little bit, but just earlier on, Palos really could not underestimate how much damage you can deal with this combination. And again, that was with just the Shallow Wave available. Excuse me, rather the Shadow Wave. Meanwhile, mid lane, Bob and Mac going at it. The Kunkka versus the Lina matchup. I mean, Bob, at least he's got a hero that can somewhat deal with the Kunkka and at least try and equal out the lane, but to see what Mac does do about it, it seems like the Kunkka at some stage is still going to be a bit of a menace.
That it is. I mean, once you get level 3 Tidebringer, it's just really hard to hold back up against that consistent harassment. You do have a range advantage for Bob, but he has to land these spells. You know, you have to land that Dragon Slave, you have to be able to get a couple of right clicks in, and Kunkka's not an easy hero to shove out for Delina, especially once those bracers start coming in here for Mac. So, should be manageable for Delina, but you're not going to be shoving this Kunkka out anytime soon here.
Of course, bot lane, Shanks and Tina going at it here against Natsumi and Skem. But for now, Skem and Natsumi not choosing to get too aggressive here against the two of Execration, but that level 2, level 3 mark is when things get a little bit scary here if you are Execration as well, and it seems like Skem's looking to set up. Tino, Shanks, they're going to cop it. Cookie will land onto the Dark Willow. He will at least get the Brambles out. Skewer away as well from Tino, trying to buy him a bit of time, and he has done so. Shanks will be just fine, but you can see the threat. Like, you land one stun onto either hero, and they are probably just going to melt.
Yeah, and I like that little trade. Like, Shanks doesn't have a salve, is forced to eat through pretty much all of his tangos here. Skem doesn't lose too much for his trouble. He's going to be able to trade back, get the D-ward as well, and should be able to stabilize that lane. Like, every single lane for the side of Geek Fam right now, they are playing a little bit aggressively. Up top, you know, you're seeing Jing just try to chase down. You've got a lot of space coming out here for Cox. He's managing to build up, has the 2 points in Poison Touch, so he's a major threat to Palos. Palos isn't falling too far behind in farm, but it's not the kind of start you'd want to see for a Monkey King. I don't really think they have too much room to start building up some early stacks here either.
Cox is getting very aggressive here on Palos. Meanwhile, bottom lane, it seems like Natsumi could find himself in a bit of danger because now Tino skewering him right through the brambles, doing so much damage with Skem. He's in with the cookie. Tino now the one forced to run. They have got another stun here on Natsumi, but he does get rooted up in the brambles. And they have no points in the Reality Rift, so it seems as though the Dark Willow will be just fine. Meanwhile, mid, of course, you saw them trying to go for an attempt onto Bob, but Bob is the one dishing out all the damage right now.
They might
It's Mac It seems like he's the one that needs to be careful.
Yeah, I like seeing this coming out from Bob. He's able to start landing those Dragon Slaves, leverage that range advantage. Movement out from Jing doesn't really pan out for much, and you have this overwhelming lead now for the Lina. 23-7 up against the Kunkka 16-3. And again, Bob, just purely off the harassment, is pretty hard to sustain if he lands every single spell, which up against a melee hero shouldn't be too tough for good old Bob here.
Copping so much damage here from Bob. Be okay. Meanwhile, CML, top lane, does have Icarus dive, but needs to time it very well to avoid the battery assault stunning him up midway. And CML, he's not even trying for it. He's just going to try and walk the old-fashioned way, and now creating the distance, he will be alright. Meanwhile, Palos, he does force Cox out of the lane for a little bit, so ensuring they did not have the damage for CML. The Phoenix, at least for another day, will survive.
You're starting to get some space out in these lanes now as well for Execration as the aggression ramps up. You're seeing a little bit more form out for Tino and Palos in comparison to their lane matchups here. And it is working out. Like, they do have level 3 and Natsumi down bot, so you can start to play aggressively with that Reality Rift. Issue is trying to jump Shanks first with a CK does mean that Shadow Realm will go on, so you don't really have that window. And you always have to respect that skewer back from Tino that can come in and punish. So getting a little bit harder to find that angle here for Geek to play aggressive early.
Well, Natsumi was taking a fair bit of damage on the way out, but he will make it. Meanwhile, top lane, Cox, he's going to be jumped on the Dazzle. Palos, he'd love that Jingu to proc and does get it eventually into the Boundless, but does not want to die. It's a little bit too dangerous as now Jing is going to rotate. Jing will try onto CML, but Palos is sticking around to try and take some of the damage away from CML. From his CML, he is still going to drop it now. Palos, he's the one in danger. The cookie does land mid-tree, but can they actually chop it down? The answer is no. Palos will be okay.
That's a timely rotation out from Skem to try to turn that around. Really good positioning out from Jing. Does manage to kite them out, and Cox gets a little bit of room to come back in and clean up. They were trying to give the kill onto Jing. At least Execration was trying to give that first blood gold onto the Clockwork instead. Doesn't pan out. Cox still manages to find it. And that is first blood in 6 minutes. I expected a little bit faster of a pace between these two teams, but you know what? A lot in the line for this game one, Mike. When you've got your reps for your regions on the line, you know? You can't mess around too much.
It is scary here for either side, that's for sure. Bottom lane, again Tino. Bit of an attempt there from Natsumi, but won't lead to too much. Seems like a lot of pressure's trying to be applied here against Bob in the mid lane. Skem's going to show up, Bob will see him. Or even Jing was around on the river, just in case Bob wanted to try and make a rotation over, but it's like Jing is going to leave the area as well. All being said and done, Bob has got quite a bit of farm. 49 and 10 in terms of CS. Having a very good game, and they just are not able to catch them out.
Just stands way too far back. You don't have your initiation ready yet with Hookshot on Jing. You can't really start these with level 1 X as well as the Lina should be able to just run out. So a little bit harder to connect onto Bob. We did see Palos rotate down south really early on, trying to pressure out Natsumi, but couldn't find the opening. So misses out on a little bit of farm, but does understand what he wants to do on the Monkey. He wants to be a little bit more aggressive, set some tempo, try to prevent the CK from starting to farm up, especially once Phantasm is up. We've seen this for a long time now. With Phantasm spam being so low cooldown, CK does really ramp up in farm once you hit that level 6 mark.
Yeah, that it certainly does. How to approach that level 6 mark now is looking back up top, CML just being so cautious here to stay away from Jing. You do have Bob around the corner. Bob is farming that dire jungle at the moment, so he could rotate if necessary, but doesn't seem like he wants to do that. Just keep the farm going. Doesn't have any points in the light strike array anyway, so it doesn't really have the stun. So I'd much rather just keep the farm up. 8-minute power runes are going to spawn up top, where Jing will find himself an arcane, but CMO is going to be there to try and deny it off. He will get cogsed up, and well, the dive is not timed as well as you would have liked to CML. He'll cop the boat here, it looks like, by Mac, though he does have Bob to help out, but there's just too many numbers from Geek Fam coming in. And Bob could do nothing to assist.
like this.
Too low on mana to try to make a play. And again, as you mentioned, without the stun, it's a little bit hard for Bob to find something. This is going to be all day, especially if we get something like the Blacklist game down the line. That's all you're going to hear, Mike. Get used to it. Best voice line in the game.
Certainly is, Jonathan. Jing, he's going to have a quick disconnect here. Hopefully we'll have a quick reconnection as Skem is complaining about some lag issues. But overall, I mean, it's 2-0 right now. Still a very close matchup. Obviously, the one saving grace at the moment for Execration is the fact that Bob is having an extremely good time as here comes the all chat.
This guy totally knows what he's doing.
Tino saying, you banned my Viper, you expletive. And Skem's like, good thing I at the pub and saw the Viper. And Bob is like, who are you voicing out here to,
This guy totally knows
Skem?
what he's doing.
And Skem's like, a lot of people. I'm calling out a lot of people. 200 ping. All right,
This
the
guy
classic.
Totally knows what This guy totally
Take your
knows what
time.
he's doing.
Okay. Nice of them.
That's very nice.
This guy totally knows what he's doing.
Paulus is like, towards the end, it's still going to be my fault. It was already towards the end. It's my fault. Probably pub stuff, maybe. If not, the Pustaha Nights that was running during TI. That was on Cuckoo's stream. Let me tell you, Mike, talking to Cuckoo online, he is much more talkative than in person. And I don't know, we had Force on hand, so we basically had a conversation about literally nothing. Like, you and I have conversations about nothing all the time. This was literally brain off. I'm not even sure what we're talking about anymore, but it was fun.
Okay. Thank you for
I'm
that,
not
John.
sure what we were talking about, but it's always fun talking to Cuckoo, even though it's about something I can't even comprehend.
I'm glad someone talked to you, Jonathan. That's a very good start to your day.
Yeah, you left me alone in those open qualifiers, Mike. You know,
Oh,
I was
you actually
lonely.
got to talk to him during the qualifiers.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Bored.
Yeah, I jumped in with Cuckoo and
So bored.
Cuckoo and
This
Force,
guy totally knows what he's doing.
and they were like, "Oh, let's speak in English." Oh, bro, you sound so conyo when you speak Filipino. And they're like, "Oh yeah, hey, bro, let's go to Starbs, bro." Anong
Starbs?
size ng Starbs mo, bro? Starbucks.
Oh. That's what they call them in the Philippines. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Starbs.
The
Wow,
hip
wow.
kids. Starbs. You call it in Australia, Mike, huh? What's the Aussie
Starbucks.
slang down under? Oh,
Well, I
no
mean-
creativity?
No, I mean, we call it
alright.
garbage too, to be absolutely fair. But, what do you do? I mean, if you, in my opinion, if you can't call the cups by their size names, I don't know what to tell you, John. It's too confusing for me. If I can't say large, then I'm not shopping there. Anyway, moving on. Geek fan. Well, nothing's really happening, John. It's classic SCA meta at the moment, isn't it? We're just farming at the moment.
Well, the open qualifiers had some bloodbaths. I think, again, there's some pressure on these two, considering the rich background when you have a Filipino versus Filipino match, specifically a Bisaya versus Tagalog match. It's always some pressure. This will build up and blow up at some point. You know what bothers me, Mike, though? Look at the Geek Fam logo. Isn't that just the old Little Gun logo? Why is it the old Little Gun logo?
I don't know.
How did they even have the Little Gun logo on hand? I don't understand.
Copyright doesn't exist in SCA, apparently. nobody copyrights anything. It's free use, John. You do.
And the funny thing is, you have IHC, which is pretty much, carrying the old spirit of old Little Gun. So,
Right.
there you go.
What does IHC even stand for?
I have no clue. And I don't think I'll ever get an answer on that either. What does it stand for? I have no clue. I wish I would know.
Thank you for that, John. Still no real fights going on here. Like, Ping's coming out towards the mid lane. Jing is the only one really farming that area. You've got Mac just casually farming his own triangle at the moment, and both sides just seem more than happy hitting creeps. The thing is, allowing the Kunkka to do this has made it so now Mac is top of the net worth board. He's easily passed Bob on the laner, so it's that laning advantage you had as the laner. It hasn't really amounted to much now, as Mac's just caught up very easily. And speaking of Mac, he's going to smoke up towards the north and see if he can find Bob. And it seems like he's going to run right into him in just a moment. If he can get within range for the X, Bob might be as good as that. In fact, Jing, he's out with the hook. That's a perfect initiation. And poor old Bob, not much he can do about it. He'll try to fairy fire, but that's about it. He is down.
2 Dota players in a lane.
And it's a little bit worrying for Execration to play this game slower. Granted, their lineup will want to farm, but the lineup of Geek Fam really want to farm. You've got the Dazzle off lane that's just farming up a storm. Ags being rushed here by Cox. They're rushing in onto the mid lane to take map control away as well. They do have the levels to try to fight, but no initiation, no blink just yet in Tino. So you can't safely just drop the egg here from CML. It's a little bit harder to force the issue. Fortunately, it is a little bit of a slower siege for the side of Geek Fam. They don't have the fastest push lineup, so tower's not going to instantly fall, but they're going to need to drag heroes in to try to stop this. 3 heroes down mid. Again, the side lanes are just so open. Like Natsumi using the Phantasm to farm is still ahead of Palos. You've got Mac just building up. You've got Cox who's not being contested while the Dazzle's weak. Everything's kind of lining up for Geek Fam. Even though it's only a 1k network lead, they certainly are playing to their favor here.
Yeah, now Palos could be in danger. Jing, he has the hook ready. He's got no rocket flare available, but he will in 5 seconds. Oh, Palos, he's going to show himself. Jing does have the rocket if he wants to gain some vision. Palos going to be spotted out. They have the hook if they want to try and take a guess. But Jing will not. They're just more than happy securing the top tier 1 tower. Jing's going to have a look through the tree line. Pings are out. They seem to know Palos is still around the area, but seems like they will just let him go.
Can be a little bit tougher jumping the monkey, and you're not really fully aware as to where everyone else is, so there's a little bit of a smoke movement that can come out. And Exa is smoked up. They're piling onto mid. They want to pressure onto this tier 1. They are ready with a blink now on Tino for that blink RP.
They don't really want to start on Schem. They'd much rather a core if they can here, Execration, and it seems like they might just choose to run south, where they might find Natsumi. Natsumi going to farm the large or rather medium camp, as it seems like there is an X out from Mac now onto Shanks. Shanks, he'll cop the boat to the face, and it seems like he's going to be in a pretty much a lot of danger here. So he'll go for the TP out, but the cookie, no! Unfortunate. Very close, but no cigar.
Yeah, it's still pretty damn good for Geek Fam, because it was Execration that was smoked up in that area, right? They're the ones trying to be aggressive. They don't find the angle. They're forced to break off the smoke. You still have Cox farming on the opposite side of the map. Ags is only one part away for the Dazzle. And this is scary. That Shadow Wave damage is insane once you have the Ags up. And Dazzle just feels so damn good once the levels start pumping in as well. So it is concerning for Exa. Again, they have their full teamfight complement ready. They've got that Blink RP into Egg. They just need to activate it somewhere.
The question is where? They're looking at Cox top, but Palos, can you actually make the jump in? They're just hanging around this Dazzle, seeing if they can find an opening here, but he's playing extremely safe, and well, now he's just 500 gold away from that Axe to be completed, so things are looking scarier. As speaking of scary CML, he's run right into Jing, and he's just as good as dead. They'll hook shot to ensure he cannot get away.
I mean, they're not using it offensively anyway in Geek Fam. You look at their positioning, they haven't crossed that river too much outside of Cox for farm. So they're more than happy to play this farm game. And once they hit this timing, once you're ready to join in with Natsumi and ready to play a little bit more with Cox, it starts to get scary. They will smoke up as 2. Again, you've got the kisses ready on Schem here as well, so an X mark into Torrent should be enough to find that kill here.
Oh, absolutely. It seems as though they want Palos. They're going to run right into his courier. So they know he's around. He'll tree dance into the tree line. Rocket Flare going to give the vision. Mac, he throws the Torrent out early. Will not land it, but does get the X off. So Palos really has no way out of this, but trying to fight. And it seems like the fighting will not be good enough as he is down. Very nice rotation now from Geek Fam, securing the position 1 of Execration.
Radiant's bottom tower is
I mean,
under
Execration, all they can do is try to shove down bot. They were on
they're
hunt
still
for
going.
Natsumi. Oh.
Look at Mac. He's just rotated right through the twin gates. He wants more. Bob, tree line. Oh, what a
no!
hook!
Jing!
What a hook out from Jing! Completely blind from the clockwork. He just takes a guess. And he was right on target.
I mean, you remember that time when Jing and Cox joined Neon? right? When they looked a little bit lost without Yopaj, Scam, and the old roster, and Zhao.
Yeah.
Jing and Cox both stood out there, right? And Jing kind of faded out in the last DPC, but having this opportunity back in Geek Fam, this guy's just crazy. His clockwork was always a standout feature, and it's showing up here, Mike. It's great to see that Geek Fam managed to pick up a player like Jing that honestly not a lot of teams have given too many opportunities to him. So pretty good. It's showing up. Execration not finding a single kill just yet. 6-0 at 16 minutes in. The 3K lead piling on. The Ags up on Cox. The full Echo Saber plus Armlet for Natsumi. They're ready to go.
Shanks. He'll go into the Shadow Realm, but Natsumi continuing the chase. Brambles will lock him in. He's got the vision for the stun though, and the illusion. It crits him with the last hit though, Tino. He gets the RP off right into Palos. Can they lock him down long enough though, Natsumi? He's a pretty tanky boy. He's got help on the way as well. Here comes Scam, and here comes Mac. This does not look like the fight anymore. They've got Palos and the Monkey King. Palos is gone. Oh, Tino, he does at least secure Natsumi with CML. But they're going to lose Bob to boot. A terrible fight for Execration.
That is a little bit surprising that they went for that. They don't really have forward vision on Execration side. Geek Fam has the map very nicely warded, especially up top. They managed to play that area. They forced the RP onto one, and that was the RP egg combo we were looking for. It's just a little bit too... you need to catch more. You can't afford to just catch one when everyone else is going to come back in. You need to be able to find probably like 1+ Dazzle. Like, that's the ideal here for Execration. You've got to take out the save. You've got to take out the shallow grave that can stall out these fights. And the damage coming in from the Shadow Wave. Like, it's just too much. But when you commit fully onto the front line, well, no one's going to take care of the back line in this lineup.
Now, Jing just so confidently going into the die triangle. Palos will spot him out. A nice boundless. He lands on 3. It could be a big fight this time for Execration, though. Jing just gets the cogs up into the hook shot. He'll be able to get away. Oh, they can't even get the clock. In comes Mac. X is out onto CML. CML, he will have to dive away, though, so he's fine. But Geek Fam, just so much aggression. And they are giving nothing to Execration.
That they are. No openings out to Exa. All the farmed world going away of Geek Fam. And they're not even being too aggressive, right? They're playing into Execration, showing themselves here. They're not crossing the river too hard. They're not pressuring onto the tier 2s just yet. They are still farming to an extent. Find CML again.
Yeah, they certainly do. This time, dive is on cooldown for 5 seconds, so CML is as good as dead. Or even a double damage rune sitting at the top rune spot here for the side of Geek Fam, as it seems like Mac will be able to find it. It just keeps getting worse if you are Execration at the moment.
Yeah, you're going to hit this Ags timing for Mac next. You don't have any early BKBs lined up, so the Torrent Storm's going to be an insane piece of crowd control to have to contend with. You're getting more levels up onto Cox. He's going into the BKB now on the Dazzle. You've got a Blink ready on Natsumi, so he can just be ultra aggressive if he wants to now. And again, it's just not presenting itself an opportunity here.
Natsumi will just blink away. There is Palos to chase. A balance will land. Now the Wukong's committed, though in come the kisses from Scam, who is there to help out. It seems like Natsumi, though, is dropping rather low, but now the Shallow Grave comes out in the cook shot. It's out from Jing. He found Tino, forcing the skewer away. Terrorize out now from the Dark Willow. Shanks trying to keep everyone else alive as Jing, just walking casually out, will finally die. They'll at least get a clockwork, but they cannot get the rest. Natsumi is safely out.
Not a big loss for the side of Geek Fam. Execration, you kind of have to take what you can get right now, but it's not the big get that you'd want. They do have this opening for Roshan. They are grouping up for it up top. Again, they've still got Egg RP, so a fight in a constrained area like that could be nice, but no. Pilot decides to leave. No Wukongs means it's a lot harder even with the Egg RP. And Geek Fam will lose a tier 1, but who really cares, Scam?
Screw back on Skip. The Brambles to lock him down. He will drop. But in goes Natsumi with the damage for Tino. Immediate RP out, trying to save himself. The boat will fly in. He'll be locked down again. Thing is, the Sunray Egg was there from CML, so he will survive a little bit longer on the Magnus. As Tino is able to run out of there. But my goodness, you saw the damage out from Natsumi. It's just insane.
It's a lot of damage. Like, if you didn't get the Sunray off with the egg there for CML, that probably would have been a straightforward kill onto Tino. So at the very least, they saved themselves, but that's RP egg down. That's an opening for Geek Fam. All they had to expend was the boat, which, you know, isn't the longest cooldown in the world. We have the kisses coming out for Scam right around the same time as well. They'll go for this cheeky courier play for the
here we go.
for the Tormentor. Was not patched out, so you still have this. Very easy.
Oh, why the hell not? You know, it's a feature. It's a nice little feature there, and Jing will get himself a nice little jetpack off the back of that. Jetpack, one of the nicer kind of shots to have as the clockwork, you know, you just initiate in, cogs, and just jetpack right out. Tormentor on the other side will also be taken, as it will be handed the way of Shanks.
Generation.
I can have that cursed crown with the brambles on top now.
Dire are scattered.
I don't know, like this slower pace of game, Execration, they are still 4K behind, and there is going to be a smoke out from Geek Fam. Looking to move into that dire triangle once again. In fact, never mind, they're pointing out the tier 1 bottom tower. Seems like they want that first. Oh, Bob, he's going to show on the river. Natsumi blinks in, loses vision, still get... No, he lost!
What?
He lost the vision!
What? Huh? What?
Oh, no.
Lane.
Oh,
He
Natsumi.
blinked onto the staircase, lost the vision of the tree line. Oh. You blink on top of the staircase, Natsumi. What are you doing?
Sometimes you just hit the wrong spot, you miss out.
Is under attack.
Yeah, they are going for Roshan now, at the very least, and this should be a very straightforward road for the side of Geek Fam. Execration not in contest. Would have been a big kill to open up this game if they found Bob maybe go for the tier 1 into Roche, finding more objectives. Still, Geek Fam still finding more on the map, so getting space out the farm. Mac does have the Ags now going for his own BKB as well. So everything's lining up. You'll have the BKB timing for Cox lining up here, Heart timing for Natsumi. And it's going to be hard to kill off this lineup. Again, you're playing against Dazzle Kunkka. So there's the sustain you have to worry about with strength cores on top of that into Kunkka and CK. Like, it's the burst damage from Exit, even with the Ags from Bob eventually coming out. I'm not sure if that burst is going to be enough. You've got to find a backline. You've got to get that burst before the torrent before the torrent storm and the boat comes in. And even then, like, with how much HP Natsumi will have, I just don't know if you can insta-burst this guy 100-0 fast enough.
Yeah, it sure doesn't feel like it, especially once the heart is up, and it is coming. Sooner rather than later, Natsumi will have enough gold for it. It's just going to be absolute chaos in these next team fights, and well, Execration, they are looking like the somewhat weaker team here against Geek Fam at the moment. You are heavily reliant on Tino landing some big RPs to really set up a good fight for your team. And we just haven't really seen that yet. Like, we've had a couple great skewer backs here from the Magnus, but apart from that, it just hasn't been too much. In fact, speaking of the Magnus, Tino being chased by Jing with the jetpack, he'll get the vision, he's got the hook shot, he'll commit it, it's right on target. He found Tino again. Tino, he is still going to try and tank through this one and fight back, though Jing has got the backup on the way as he commits the RP, but now the shallow grave is out.
Oh my god.
And faith has been lost. Tino will drop. And Geek Fam, I mean, they're just running circles around them.
They are. I mean, again, like, they've got the combinations, they've got the reach with the Dazzle Shallow Grave. Like, it's just so easy to save. It's so easy to take these riskier plays with just a support when you've got this Dazzle core behind you. The heal, the saves, it's just too much to handle. You know, you're not quite able to group up as a team as Execration. They're trying to farm, trying to be efficient, but it does give Geek Fam now the opportunity to be the aggressors.
Top lane. This is a loss you really can't afford to have. Palos forced to pop his BKB to be able to walk out of this, and he does. But he does lose half his HP in the meantime, and now they're going to go for a counter smoke. But I believe it will be just to run back to the other side of the map and try to ignore the side of Geek Fam. Or maybe they actually want to fight without this BKB of Palos. They'll see Natsumi, but can they make the jump in? They will try. Natsumi, he does have the Aegis up, keep in mind, so he's got a secondary life, but they will pop the egg. But Natsumi, he will finally go down the first time. Cox, in the meantime, trapped in the ring of the Monkey King. Cox is going to survive a little bit longer. And now it's Execration. They need to run. Jing's in again. He'll stun up two of them, but he is down. But Palos is the one in danger. Palos is dropping lower. Palos is gone. So is CML. Tino will try to run, but they'll hex him up with the poison touch. Bob, are you really going to stick around?
He has no mana.
What are you thinking, Bob? You get Cox down, but it's not worth it. The Dark Willow as well now. He'll hide in the tree line, but the chase is on. They've got him. 4 down for the price of 2. It could have been a 2-for-1 trade, but Bob just moved back in for Cox and it cost them 2 more.
Sometimes you can't help yourself, you know, you want to kill off that one player. Cox was in his headlights and he just wanted to run Cox down. What can you do? It's a little bit rough for Execration. You can see what happens, man, when you focus in on something like the CK Dazzle, right? CK with the Aegis, Natsumi knew that he could play forward. Cox knows he can play damn far forward with just Shallow Grave and how low that cooldown is with Bad Juju. And how much you heal with Shadow Wave in the middle of these fights. Like, this Ag's healing, man, it's insane. 150% heal, an auto attack onto the enemies when it bounces onto them. Dazzle's a universal type. You know, that's not an amount of damage to laugh at. Maybe old Int Dazzle, sure.
Yeah.
Universal Dazzle, no.
He's a universal boy now. Oh, Jing! Jing! This guy just doesn't miss. This is Clockwork playing at its finest. Jing still chasing Bob down, though there is going to be Tino to rotate, but now Tino goes right into the belly of the beast.
Oh.
They will interrupt the skewer perfectly timed. He'll cop the RP here on the side of Geek Fam, but it means nothing. Well, you know, John, as a Clockwork spammer, I'll tell you, Jing is easily MVP of this match already.
He is. Again, his Clockwork has been fantastic. His lane with Cox was fantastic. They managed to put a lot of early pressure onto Palos and CML. And they're finding everything rolled out.
Yeah, Natsumi actually... Oh, he got the stun. Problem is the tree dance was going on before the stun flew out, so Palos, he does avoid the stun until he's in the tree line, and he will be able to survive another day. Seems like they actually found a tier 3 token, though, from Execration, so someone's not getting their neutral item. In goes Natsumi. He's got the heart up now. He wants to fight. He's got 4k HP at 27.5 minutes in. This is the meta for you.
Yep. We're back to the sprint meta, which is... Honestly, it's kind of fun. Just, you know, it's kind of samey, but it is what it is. Smoke out.
Oh, the Rocket player is going to get everything. CML spotted. Bob was spotted to do it. They'll start with the Phoenix, though. Can they get him? CML, he'll actually get the egg off in time, and now Natsumi, he is in a bit of danger because the egg cannot be focused out. Problem is, they've got so much sustain, but still, the CK, he's so low. The Shallow Grave gonna buy time. Natsumi, he's gonna try and fight through this one, and he has survived for now, but no. Bob does get him with the Dragon Slave. He will secure. Problem is, they are still dropping like flies here, Execration. The chase is on. Bob, can he get away?
Oh,
no,
wow.
Jing! Jing, you monster! Leave him alone! Leave him alone! My goodness!
He can't, you know, he's on the Clockwork, he's got to fly around.
Oh,
and they find Palos as well.
Yeah, they do. Palos, not like this, sir. Gets hit by the turret, hook shots out, he's locked down, and he is gone.
Yeah, it's rough going for Execration. Losses across the map. Again, a pretty good egg coming out from CML on the low ground with Cliff to protect in the tree line. Very hard
Best
to
egg
hit.
all game.
Yeah, it's just not enough. Like, they didn't have enough control. They couldn't get the RP on top. They focus in fully on this 4k HP CK with Shallow Grave, with a healing from the Shadow Wave as well. Like, it's too much. They need to play the backline. And Bob has the Ags. Perhaps now you can start to assassinate into that backline with a flying movement. Try to get that burst damage off with your Flame Cloak active, but it feels a little bit late. The one thing Execration does have for themselves here is some pretty decent high ground defense, Mike. You know, you've got the threat of RP, you've got the threat of Egg, so there's some high ground hold that you can get out here, but Fam has complete control of the map now.
They certainly do. 15k advantage in the way of Geek Fam, and with the draft that Execration have, I honestly cannot say I'm very confident that they can make a comeback here. You know, you think of the late game of Geek fam, like they've got the CK, they've got the Dazzle, they've got the Kunkka. Like, it doesn't get much easier. What's happened, John? What have you seen?
I'm seeing Cox go for the Octarine. This is when the game is almost unplayable. Lower cooldown, Shallow Grave almost 100% uptime after a couple of bad Juju spams.
Excellent.
Shadow Wave flying out constantly, the damage, the healing. The next thing you get is something like a Desolator if you could.
They
Smoke
saw
out.
Bob. They saw him. They know Bob's there. Hook. Oh, it's off the mark this time. Bob with the preemptive 4-star will be able to get away, but CML will not be so lucky. He is forced to pop the egg, but it is gone immediately, and now Bob! Oh, Bobby, what are you... Bob, oh, save your buddy syndrome. At its peak right there. I'm not sure what he was trying to do. And Jing will just not let off on the voice lines either. He is just giving it to him.
Yeah, that's the expected in this kind of match between these two kind of teams. High ground under siege. No egg to save. RP's ready if Tino does decide to make his way in, but the towers are just going to melt. And Geek Fam again looking as dominant as they were looking in those open qualifiers. Execration had to slog their way through those OQs as well. We need to see something coming out here.
But they've smoked up. They've got to try with Tino for a skewer back, and they will give it a crack against Kunkka, against Max. But Max got the BKB. They'll pop the RP now, but the Shallow Grave is there, and in comes Natsumi right underneath the T4 towers. They were winning the team fight. They weren't even losing. They weren't even losing, John. Natsumi's in. Palos is in danger. Palos is gone. This game's over. I think you just have to call it. Tino's going to try. Skewer out again, but it does nothing.
This guy totally knows what he's doing.
They will continue.
I mean, you can see what happens. You jump one in the front, you don't take care of Dazzle. Guess what? Shallow Grave, Shadow Wave, and nothing happens. You can't find that kill. The healing is insane. 150% on the bounce to enemies for heal and damage. And an auto attack as well. Like, just the heal alone. It's more than enough to leave Mac alive. And again, it's these two strength cores plus Dazzle core.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of the Dazzle, they will try. Skewer back again onto Cox, but Cox has got the BKB out. And
Look at that
the one
damage.
that's actually in danger. Look at the damage indeed coming out from Cox. They just can do nothing against it. Bob is down. Egg is dropped, but there will be nothing to protect if they want to try and move in. Still, they are actually backing off. Natsumi. Well, hold on a minute, Jing. You can't hook shot it. You can't hook shot the damn egg, Jing. You know that. You knew that.
No. You know what it is? I think he was trying to time it to he throws hook shot right as the egg pops. I think he was trying that timing. So he was going for a next level play. GG's called by Execration. Geek Fam take a dominant game number 1 here up against